Hello, ACPS staff, and welcome to a short video tutorial on Lumio, how to edit content on the page. So you'll see here, I'm in a Lumio file, I'm editing, and I've added just a variety of content to the page here so that we can look at some options for editing. Most of the options come when you select on the item, so I'm going to start with the text right here. When I select on it, I get some handles that appear around the outside. Right here in the center at the top, I have a rotate handle, so I can rotate this item into any other angle on the page. In the bottom right-hand corner, I have a resize handle, which in the case of text actually allows me to change the size of the text, not just the size of the text box that it's contained within. And then in the upper right-hand corner, we have a drop-down menu here. When you select on this, you get lots of options for editing this item. But before we get into that drop-down, we're going to stay with text and we're going to talk about one additional option with text. If I double click on the text, I get another toolbar that pops out down here, and that allows me to actually change some of the formatting of the text itself. For example, if I highlight all of the text contained in this text box, I can change the style of font. I can change the size of the font to make it smaller or larger. I can change the color of the font. I can do things like bold, underlined, italics. And then I even get options to change things like whether it's left, justified, centered. I can add bullets or make a numbered list, indent, and so on. And then finally here under my little gear, I have the ability to do things like change to strike through, superscript, and subscript. So some additional options for text there as well. One other handle that you'll see that appears on text when you double click on it is this small handle here on the right hand side. If I want to shrink the size of this text box and push that text so that it flows over multiple lines, I can do that using that handle there, or pull it back out so that it extends entirely across one line. So you can really change the way that that text box looks by using this handle here so that it goes over multiple lines or over a single line. Let's go back to that drop down menu in the upper right hand corner and start talking about some of the ways that you can customize and change various items that are on the page. So, selecting on my drop down again, the first four options at the very top are pretty standard to any drop down or right click menu that you encounter across many of your applications. I can duplicate this item, which allows me to get a single copy of it with just one click. Similarly, I have the ability to copy and paste. That would accomplish the same thing, but in two steps. And then, of course, the option to delete the item. The next option we have in the dropdown here is one that is very popular among our smart users, and that is the Infinite Cloner. When I choose Infinite Cloner, you'll notice that my drop-down icon has changed here in the upper right to this little infinity symbol. And what I now get is anytime I select this, I'm simply dragging out another copy of this object here. So if you think about students working with manipulatives, such as this red counter item over here, if you set this to an infinite cloner, you don't have to put 50 red dots on the page or 250. The students can simply select and drag out however many counters they need for the activity without you having to put any more than one item on the page. If you change your mind and you don't want an item to infinitely clone anymore, when you select on it and click on that infinity symbol, you'll have the ability to disable the infinite cloner and it goes right back to the standard drop down that's there. Our next option allows us to attach audio to this particular item here. So when we select on this, we get the ability to upload an audio file if we already have one or record audio. This can be great for identifying what an object is for our youngest learners, or perhaps attaching a Spanish or German name to the item for students in our world and classical languages, or an English name to the item for students in our ELD program. So if I select record audio, it wants me to enable my microphone and click allow up here. And then I simply click start recording. I have up to 5 minutes to record something that I can attach to this item. This is a red circle. Once I have recorded it, I have the option to play it back to make sure that it sounds the way that I like. If it's not clear as I would like it to be, I can click on delete and start over. And when I'm ready, I can click on add audio to attach that, and you'll notice this small speaker icon appears in the bottom left corner of that object, indicating that there is some sort of audio attached, and that if the students click on it, they'll have a play and they'll be able to hear exactly what the teacher attached to that item. Returning to our dropdown again, our next option similarly allows us to attach a link to this item so that if students click on it, they would be taken out to an external website. You'll notice here when I click on it, it says I can only have one attachment per object, so I would have to remove the audio in order to attach a link to this. If I click OK, I can go back and delete the audio from that and then attach the link or select on a different object and do my attach link, which just brings up a field for me to paste in the web address. And then when I go to save this, I can choose whether or not I want it to take the students directly to this link when they click on the object, or whether or not I want a corner icon to indicate that they should click on it. So let me grab a quick hyperlink from up here. I'll add that in and click attach, and you'll see this adds that corner icon that indicates that there is a link there. And when they select on this corner icon rather than the object itself, it will take them to that linked website there. Returning back to our menu again, our next option is to lock the object in place. This again is very popular with our smart users. This can prevent students from accidentally moving items on the page or deleting them. When you want things to remain in place, such as your instructions for your students, when you choose lock in place, once again our drop down has been replaced here by this lockbox. And if a user, including myself, attempts to click on this object to drag it into any other position, I do not have that ability. It's locked. Similarly, I've lost the resize handle as well as the rotate handle. I don't have the ability to do anything with this object at this point other than look at it. If I want to unlock it, I can select on the lockbox and choose unlock, but students would not have the unlock ability. Only the teacher would have that particular. Some additional options under the lock option are to lock it in place but allow it to move vertically. If you're having students shuffle things between a column, allowing them to move it vertically but in no other direction ensures that things stay in the column. Similarly, I can lock it in place but allow them to move it horizontally if I want them to keep it in a particular row in a table. I can lock it but allow them to move it. That's our third option down here. This would allow students to move items in some sort of a sorting or ordering activity, but they don't accidentally resize them. This can be particularly important if you're doing any sort of math activity where you're having students measure the size of an object. Allowing them to move it to the ruler is very helpful for the students, but if they accidentally resize it, they no longer get the correct measurement for that. And finally, we have our last option here for locking, which allows them to move and rotate, but again, not be able to resize that object, which allows them to maintain that integrity for it. So let's see what happens if we choose one of these. I'm going to go with that last option there. We can see the lockbox appears again, but I do in fact have the ability to move it this time, even though it's got the lockbox, and I have the rotate handle on top, but I do not have the resize handle. So we're maintaining the size of it while allowing them to change the position and even which direction it faces. To turn that off, once again, you would click on the lockbox and choose unlock. One last time, let's go down into our drop-down menu and take a look at the last two options that we have there. Everything in Smart Lumio works in layers. That means the first item that you put on the page is going to be behind all of the other items. So for example, this green text that says my title goes here is behind all of these little red circles that I created. It's behind the red text. It's even behind the picture of the puppies over here. If I wanted this green text to actually sit on top of this circle, I need to change the order of these two items here. So one way I can do that is to select the drop down, and for this text I choose bring to the front. And now if I drag it onto the red circle, you'll see that the green text does in fact appear on top of it. So changing the order of items on the page can allow you to have something in the foreground, something else in the background as intended. So this has been a short tutorial on everything you can do when manipulating objects on a page here in Smart Lumio.